Hello friends, myself Ashok Bagda from Dr. Subhash Technical Campus, and today we are going to discuss about tractive force, swaying couple and hammer blow from the subject dynamics of machinery. So let us start. So first is a variation of tractive force. So the resultant unbalanced force due to the two cylinder along the line of stroke is known as a tractive force. So friends, we have already discussed about balancing of locomotive. So in a locomotive, the two cranks are at 90 degree with each other. Okay. In a locomotive, we have already discussed about inside cylinder locomotive, outside cylinder locomotive, uncoupled locomotive, and coupled locomotive. So in a simple, we can say that in a locomotive, the angle between two cranks is 90 degree. So here the resultant unbalanced force due to the two cylinder along the line of stroke is known as a tractive force. So let us consider a crank for a first cylinder is inclined at an angle theta degree with a line of stroke, and the crank for the second cylinder will be inclined at an angle 90 degree plus theta with the line of stroke. Since the crank for the second crank is 90 degree to the first crank, we know that in a locomotive engine the angle between two crank is 90 degree. So if we consider the angle for a first crank with the line of stroke is theta, then automatically the angle for the second crank with the line of stroke is become 90 plus theta. Now we know that unbalanced force along the line of stroke. We have already discussed in a single cylinder engine the unbalanced force along the line of stroke. So in a partial balancing, we know that unbalanced force along the line of stroke is 1 minus c am omega square r into cos theta. So here if we consider cylinder 1, unbalanced force along the line of stroke for cylinder 1 is given by FHU1, that means unbalanced horizontal force along the line of stroke for cylinder 1 is 1 minus c into am omega square r into cos theta. Similarly, unbalanced force along the line of stroke for cylinder 2 is given by FHU2 in bracket is equal to FHU2, that means unbalanced horizontal force for cylinder 2 is equal to 1 minus c into m omega square r into cos 90 plus theta, because here theta become 90 plus theta. So here cos 90 plus theta become minus sin theta. So here f u2 is equal to minus in bracket 1 minus c am omega square r sin theta. So here 1 minus c into m omega square r into sin theta. So resultant force along the line of stroke become, it is known as a tractive force. So tractive force is, because in both cylinder the line of unbalanced force is in same direction, so resultant will be addition. So unbalanced tractive force is equal to FHU1 plus FHU2. So if we add these two components, then it will become FT is equal to in bracket 1 minus c m omega square r cos theta plus 1 minus c. So here it is minus 1 minus c into m omega square r sin theta. So here because FHU2 is equal to minus in bracket 1 minus c m omega square r sin theta, here the minus is missing, so here value is minus, so here also become minus. So ft is equal to in bracket 1 minus c bracket complete m omega square r in a whole bracket cos theta minus sin theta. Now we know that, so here let us see the notation. So here c is a fraction of reciprocation part to be balanced. We know that the value of c is always less than 1. In a partial balancing we already discussed about c. C is a constant having value is less than 1. M is a mass of reciprocating part per cylinder, and omega is a speed of engine. Now the tractive force, this is a tractive force Ft. So Ft is a tractive force is equal to 1 minus c m omega square r in a bracket cos theta minus sin theta bracket complete. So this tractive force become maximum or minimum. So the value of maximum tractive force and minimum tractive forces depends on only this bracket cos theta minus sin theta, because 1 minus c is constant, m is also constant, omega is also constant. So the value of tractive force depends on this bracket. So the tractive force is maximum or minimum when the bracket in cos minus sin theta bracket is maximum or minimum. That means when the value of this bracket will become maximum, then tractive force become maximum, and when value of this bracket become minimum, then tractive force become minimum. So if we derive the equation, make a derivation of tractive force, so dft by d theta is equal to 0, then we get, so d by d theta in bracket 1 minus c m omega square r in brackets cos theta minus sin theta bracket complete is equal to 0. So here 1 minus c m omega square r is a constant, so cos theta minus sin theta is a variable. So the derivation of cos theta is minus sin theta, and the derivation of sin theta is cos theta. So minus sin theta minus cos theta is equal to 0. So we can rewrite is a sin theta is equal to minus cos theta. So tan theta we get minus 1. So the value of tan theta become minus 1 at a degree theta is equal to 135 degree or 315 degree. That means in a one revolution of crank, tan theta become 2 times minus 1 at 135 degree and 315 degree. So if we put the value of 135, then we get minimum tractive force. So minimum value of tractive force is equal to ft mean is equal to 1 minus c m omega square r in a bracket cos 135 minus sin 135. So if we simplify, then we get ft minimum is equal to minus root 2 in bracket 1 minus c bracket complete into m omega square r. So this is the minimum tractive force. Now when we put the value theta is equal to 315 degree, so here it is 315. So when we put the value of theta is equal to 315 degree, then we get maximum tractive force. Ft max is equal to 1 minus c m omega square r in a bracket cos 315 minus sin 315 degree. So if we simplify, then we get Ft max is equal to root 2 1 minus c m omega square r. So in a general tractive force, we can write tractive force is equal to plus or minus root 2 in bracket 1 minus c m omega square r. So this is the equation of tractive force. Now let us understand about swaying couple. So as shown in figure, we consider this is the reference plane, this is a cylinder 1, this is a cylinder 2, this is the connecting rod, and it is connected with crank. The distance between two cylinders we consider it is L. The center line between the two cylinders is L. Okay, so we know that along the line of stroke of cylinder 1, some unbalanced force is acting, unbalanced horizontal force is acting, FHU1. Similarly, the line of stroke of cylinder 2, it is also acting on the FHU2. So these are the unbalanced force along the line of stroke 1, and this is unbalanced force along the line of stroke of cylinder 2. Now swaying couple. So the two unbalanced force acting along the line of stroke of two cylinders constitute a couple in a horizontal direction between the center plane. If we consider this center plane, then this force will develop a couple. Okay, and this couple is known as a swaying couple. The swaying couple is tend to sway the engine alternately in clockwise and anti-clockwise direction in a vertical axis. So let us consider L is the distance between the line of stroke of two cylinders. Now we know that primary unbalanced force due to the cylinder 1, we know that is FPU1 is equal to 1 minus C m omega square r into cos theta. Similarly, primary unbalanced force due to the cylinder 2, FU2 is equal to 1 minus C m omega square r into cos 90 plus theta. So this will become FPU2 become minus in bracket, here there is a minus sign, minus in bracket 1 minus c am omega square r into sin theta. Now the one couple, here we see that one is positive couple, another one is a negative couple. So we write, so resultant, the taking movement of this force about the center plane, we get swaying couple. So swaying couple is equal to primary unbalanced force FPU1 into L by 2. So couple means the force into distance, and here couple means force into distance. So if we multiply force with distance, then we get couple. So resultant couple, swaying couple, is equal to FPU1 into L by 2 minus FPU2 into L by 2, because these couples, one couple is in clockwise direction, another one is in anti-clockwise direction. So if you put the value 1 minus c m omega square r into cos theta into L by 2, and here the minus minus, this FPU2 is also minus, so minus minus become plus, here it is plus sign. So 1 minus c m omega square r into sin theta into L by 2. If we simplify, then we get Cs is equal to 1 minus c m omega square r in a bracket cos theta plus sin theta bracket complete into L by 2. So this is the equation of swaying couple. Now the swaying couple also become maximum when this bracket cos theta plus sin theta become maximum, and swaying couple become minimum when this bracket become minimum. So if we derive this equation, if we make a derivation of this equation, differentiate this equation with respect to theta, then we obtain 0. So dCs by d theta is equal to 0. If we derivate, then we get the derivation of cos theta. Here 1 minus c m omega square r is constant. So we have to only derive, make a derivation of this bracket. So cos, the derivation of cos theta is minus sin theta, and here derivation of sin theta is cos theta, so is equal to 0. So we get sin theta is equal to cos theta. So tan theta is equal to 1. Now we know that the value of tan theta become 1 at 45 degree and 2 to 5 degree. So theta is equal to 45 degree and 2 to 5 degree. If we put the 45 degree, then we get maximum swaying couple, and if we put the value of theta in this equation 2 to 5 degree, then we get minimum swaying couple. So minimum swaying couple, when we put 2 to 5 degree, then we get minimum swaying couple. So CS mean is equal to 1 minus c m omega square r cos 2 to 5 degree plus sin 2 to 5 degree into L by 2. So cos 2 to 5 degree is minus 1, and sin 2 to 5 degree also minus 1. So minus 1 plus minus 1 minus 2, and here also L by 2. So minus 2 to cancel. So we finally get CS mean is equal to minus L upon root 2. L upon root 2 into bracket 1 minus c m omega square r. So this is minimum swaying couple. Now maximum swaying couple. So CS max is equal to 1 minus c m omega square r into bracket CS max is equal to 1 minus c m omega square r in a bracket cos 45 degree minus sin 45 degree into L by 2. So cos 45 degree, if we put the value of cos 45, then we obtain CS max is equal to L upon root 2 in bracket 1 minus c m omega square r. So this is maximum value and this is minimum value. So in general way we can say that swaying couple is equal to plus or minus L upon root 2 in bracket 1 minus c into m omega square r. Now let us understand about hammer blow. The unbalanced force perpendicular to the line of stroke produce a variation of pressure on the rails which cause hammering action on the rail, which is called hammer blow. That means because of unbalanced forces along the line of stroke. So unbalanced force in a locomotive, and because of this unbalanced force, variation of pressure is created between rail and wheel, and this variation in a pressure is known as a hammer blow. We know that the unbalanced force along the perpendicular to the line of stroke due to the balancing mass. Now we have already discussed in partial balancing, when we put MB mass at RB radius in a diametrically opposite to the crank, then one component, vertical component will develop is mb omega square rb sin theta, and this component is always acting perpendicular to the line of stroke. So we know that if we, due to the balancing mass mb at rb radius, mb omega square rb sin theta, this component is developed perpendicular to the line of stroke. Now this component, this force will become maximum when the sin theta become unity. So sin theta is equal to, if you put the 1, so sin theta become 1 at 90 degree and 270 degree. Then this force become maximum, and this is the unbalanced vertical force. So maximum unbalanced vertical force, we can say that mb omega square rb, because sin theta is equal to 1. So this is a maximum unbalanced force. Now this maximum unbalanced force always act in a radially outward direction, but the maximum unbalanced force always act in a vertically downward and vertically upward direction. So if we consider rail wheel, this is rail wheel, okay, and this rail wheel having mass is m, so weight of the wheel is w, is acting in always in downward direction. Now here we have put mb mass here at rb radius, so in this direction mb omega square rb is acting. Now the weight is always act in a downward direction, but this unbalanced vertical force having change in direction. So sometimes what happen, so if we see the graph of rotation, so when this wheel is at 0 degree, then the unbalanced force in a vertical direction, so in a downward direction only w is acting, only weight of wheel is acting in a downward direction. So when crank rotates through a 90 degree, then this force will become maximum, and it is also acting in downward direction. So the total force when crank is at a 90 degree, then total force in acting in downward direction is w plus mb omega square rb. So this is total force. When crank is at 90 degree, then total force acting in downward direction on the rail, so total pressure acting on a rail is w plus mb omega square rb. Again, crank turn through a 90 degree, and when, in a simple way, when crank rotate through a 180 degree, then again this force becomes 0. So net force acting is only w. Okay, again it rotate through a 90 degree and crank turn around 270 degree, then this force become minimum. That means this force become minus, because it is acting in upward direction. So resultant force is only w minus mb omega square rb. And again when crank rotate to 360 degree, then only w is acting in downward direction. So here we know that the resultant unbalanced force on the rail is w plus mb omega square rb and w minus mb omega square rb. So net pressure between wheel and rail is w plus or minus mb omega square rb. So when crank is at 90 degree, then net pressure acting on rail is w plus mb omega square rb. And when crank is at 270 degree, then net pressure acting on the rail is w minus mb omega square rb. Now here w is equal to mb, the load acting downward on wheel. The hammer blow is caused due to the variation in pressure between wheel and rail. Now hammer blow, what is hammer blow? So it is because of the variation of pressure between wheel and rail. So here the pressure is continuously vary with rotation of crank. So because of the variation of pressure, the hammer blow will develop, and this variation is shown in figure we have already discussed for a 1 revolution. Now in this equation, if w is become less than mb omega square rb, then what happen? Then the net pressure will become negative, and then there is a possibility to lift the wheel from the rail, and this will happen when w become less than mb omega square rb. Therefore, to avoid a lifting condition, we must have to kept W is equal to mb omega square rb, and so the limiting value of angular speed is under root W plus upon mbrb. So this is the limiting value of angular speed at which our rail wheel will never lift. Now let us see an animation, one video about the hammer blow. Thank you.